Yeah, Tyler, let me throw it to you, right? So as we were just saying, the state wants to use this cell phone data from a phone that was still in use after the defendant was arrested. Doesn't make sense. Is it his or not? I mean, that seems like a pretty good basis for an argument from the defense, who, by the way, has been of the opinion that this investigation was botched and that law enforcement had tunnel vision and only focused on YNW Melly because he's famous. What's your take on it?
Well, first addressing the issue with the cell phone, I mean, the stakes are very high for the defense here. YNW Melly's life is technically on the line. I think the state considering the death penalty, at the bare minimum, he would do life in jail. So to admit this cell phone evidence when there's a lot of fingers pointing to others using this phone, even when he was in jail, although he has a PIN number, I think the stakes are really too high for them to allow the cell phone evidence was highly prejudicial to Melly, and there's a lot of evidence pointing to others using the phone. In addition, defense lawyers, you have to zone in on biased law enforcement. When you're somebody like a star, like the defendant is here, it makes sense to paint a picture that the state has zeroed in on him for the jump, that he is guilty, listen to his songs and look at his demeanor. I think the state is kind of leaning on those things, but this evidence with the cell phone is really too unreliable and highly prejudicial. And hopefully the judge does the right thing. But if not, this is definitely an issue for appeal.
Well, let's talk about what the judge
they'll
did.
use in the future.
Yeah, and let's talk about what the judge did. The judge ultimately denied the defense's motion to leave this data out, but let's listen to his reasoning. All right, going to turn over to you, Tyler. What do you think?
Well, I think the judge made a fair call. He noted the objection. The defense made their argument. At the end of the day, I think it gives the defense something to argue on appeal. Things don't go well for them at the trial court level if he's found guilty. I understand the judge's reasoning, saying that he does not necessarily know what's on the cell phone. At this point, they're just trying to keep the cell phone evidence out altogether. I'm sure they'll raise an objection when this evidence is offered to the jury, and they'll preserve it for the record.
Yeah, that's a big point, because we talked about it yesterday, too, how the defense lost their motion for a mistrial when it came to the testimony of Felicia Holmes, who was the defendant's ex-girlfriend's mother, and some questionable testimony that came in that the jury heard. The defense said that this was improper. The jury shouldn't have heard this. The judge denied that motion for a mistrial. But again, if their client is ultimately convicted on appeal, they can raise that issue. That is preserved on the record. Let's take a break. When we come back, we're waiting to jump live in this courtroom for a continuation of the YNW Melly trial. Stay with us.